There's a moment near the end of the bell jar that almost no one talks about. Esther Greenwood is about to walk into her exit interview, the panel of doctors who will decide whether she's well enough to leave the asylum. And Plath describes it like this. There ought, I thought it to be a ritual for being born twice, patched, retreaded and approved for the road. Approved for the road, not healed, not transformed. Approved, like a tire inspection. Most readings of the bell jar follow a predictable arc. A brilliant young woman descends into depression, receives treatment, emerges on the other side. The bell jar lifts. But Plath was more careful than that, and more honest, because if you read the novel's final chapters closely, what Esther learns isn't how to be well, it's how to appear well. And the distance between those two things is where the entire book lives. From the opening pages, Esther is already performing. In New York, she performs enthusiasm for the fashion magazine editors. At home, she performs dutiful daughterhood for her mother. With Buddy Willard, she performs interest in a man she finds mediocre. The bell jar is cataloguing, scene by scene. Every stage Esther is expected to stand on and deliver. And the breakdown, the real one, the pills and the crawl space, comes not when the performances fail, but when she can no longer see the point of performing at all. This is the detail that changes the novel. Esther's illness isn't the inability to function. It's the sudden, devastating clarity about what functioning actually requires. She watches a birth and sees brutality dressed up as miracle. She watches Buddy Willard, the pre-approved future husband, and sees only his vacancy. She watches her own career path, the scholarships, the prizes, the fig tree of possible futures, and understands that every branch demands she become smaller. Plath was writing what R.D. Laing would later call the divided self, the gap between what a person experiences and what they're permitted to express. But Plath went further than Laing. She didn't argue that Esther was secretly sane. She showed that the categories themselves, sane, insane, recovered, broken, are instruments of the same system that exhausted Esther in the first place. Consider the treatments. Esther receives insulin therapy. She receives electroshock, first badly, then supposedly well. She receives a private room, better food, a sympathetic psychiatrist. And what do these treatments accomplish? Not insight, not peace. They teach her gradually how to sit in front of a panel and project the image of a woman who has been fixed. The exit interview is an audition. The audience is medical. The role is recovered. Dr. Nolan, the good psychiatrist, is the novel's most unsettling character precisely because she is kind. She represents the seductive possibility that the system can accommodate Esther, that there is a version of institutional care that actually sees her. But Plath gives us no scene where Esther tells Dr. Nolan what she actually thinks. Their relationship is warm but opaque. We see Esther relax, but we never see her be fully known. The bell jar lifts, but it lifts the way stage lights come up, to illuminate a performance. And then there is the matter of Plath herself. The bell jar was published in January 1963 under a pseudonym. Plath killed herself a month later. This biographical fact doesn't explain the novel, but it makes its ending unbearable to read as hopeful. Plath wrote a book about a woman who learns to pass, to walk out of the institution and back into the world. And then Plath, who knew exactly what that passing cost, did not survive it. The bell jar as metaphor is usually read as depression, the glass enclosure that cuts you off from air. But Plath places it differently. The bell jar doesn't descend when Esther becomes ill. It was always there. It's the world itself, the airless, hermetically sealed expectations for a brilliant woman in 1950s America. The breakdown is the moment the glass becomes visible. The recovery is learning not to see it again. This is what makes the novel so much more dangerous than its reputation suggests. It's not a narrative of breakdown and healing. It's a narrative of breakdown and adaptation. Esther walks into that exit interview and she performs, one more time, for one more audience. And the novel ends not with freedom, but with a door opening onto more of the same world that broke her. The last line is a step forward. Plath gives us the motion, but not the destination. Esther enters the room where the doctors are waiting. She has been patched. She has been retreaded. She has been approved for the road. Whether the road leads anywhere, that Plath left unanswered. She knew better than to promise.